Okay, right, why not? So let us sing Jai Radha Madhava, and if the cartels are here, okay, just a sec. Right. Well, it's very nice to be here. I've never been here before. I think the closest I've ever been to here probably was Philadelphia. At least it's in Pennsylvania. Is it close to here? 2 hours. We just came from Washington, which was 3 hours, so yeah. I've been in Pennsylvania a few times, quite some years ago. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Ballava Giri Bharadhare Gopi Jana Ballava Giri Bharadhare Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare Gopi Jana Ballava Giri Bharadhare Gopi Jana Ballava Giri Bharadhare Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachare Yamuna Tira Vanachare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giri Bharadhare. Gopi Jana Ballava Giri Bharadhare. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachare. Yamuna Tira Vanachare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jai Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jai Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Vishpad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Stadisasismad. His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. ISKCON's founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Chandra ki, Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi ki, Sankirtan Yagya ki, Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Yes, so Hare Krishna, everyone. How nice to be here with you. I hope you're all well. Everyone is happy in Krishna consciousness. I've never been in Harrisburg before. I've not been in America a lot. I've been in America a number of times, but not really extensively. Do you know, I guess you would know, did Srila Prabhupada visit Harrisburg? He didn't. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's an hour away. Yeah. Not to Harrisburg. And Butler, Pennsylvania is not nearby, I guess. Oh, okay. Oh, gosh. It's another world. Anyway, okay, so devotees, thank you for having us. And yes, tests. Well, I saw it, test in Krishna consciousness. That's what I saw. I thought, no, what does that mean? Are we going to have a test? Should I give you a test? But tests in Krishna consciousness, that makes more sense. And that's a very important subject, actually, in Krishna consciousness. How to deal with tests and to understand some of the tests which devotees have faced in the past and what we can learn from those tests. Yeah. So, okay, but let us begin by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit saved, and we will read verse 25. First of all, though, please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right, now do you know this verse 1:825? Are you familiar with this verse? It's a fairly famous verse. So what we can do or try to do is do it responsively, as we normally do, you know, in Bhagavatam classes. You can just repeat after me. Vipada Santo Ta Shashvat Tatra Jagad Guru Bhavato Darshanam Yat Syad Apurnar Bhava darshanam vipada santuta shashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yatsyad apunar bhava darshanam vipada santuta shashvat tatra tatra jagadguru bhavato darshanam yatsyad apunar bhava darshanam. Someone please. Someone else? Tashashvat Tatra Chatra Jagadguru Bhavato Darshanam Yatsyad Apana Bhava Darshanam Tatra Jagadguru Darshanam Yatsyad Apana Bhava Darshanam. Ladies, Darshanam Yatsyad Apana Bhava Darshanam. Tatra Jagadguru Bhavato Darshanam Yatsyad Apana Bhava Darshanam. Vipada, calamities, santo, let there be, ta, all, shashvat, again and again, tatra, there, tatra, and there, Jagadguru, O Lord of the universe, Bhavata, your darshanam, meeting, yat, that which, syat, is, apuna, not again, bhava-darshanam, seeing repetition of birth and death. Yes, so translation, and this is Queen Kunti speaking, I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we'll no longer see repeated births and deaths. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Generally, the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive who have performed some pious activities worship or begin to worship the Lord. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamity, there is no other alternative than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord means preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of nescience, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hoofs of a calf. Such persons are meant to reside in the abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with a place where there's danger in every step. This material world is certified by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita as a dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent persons prepare plans to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamity. The duty of the sane person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by worldly calamities, which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization because that is the mission of human life. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger, and there is no suffering. It is simply a case of dreams. In the same way, all calamities of life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in contact with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional services is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. Let me read the verse again. Vipada santuta shashvat, tatra tatra jagad guru, bhavato darshanam yatsyad, apunar bhava darshanam. Translation. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again, so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means that we'll no longer see repeated births and deaths. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presta Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Yes, well, this subject, this topic is very important subject because, of course, there's so many important topics in Krishna consciousness, but this is particularly important because this is the material world, and inevitably we are going to be faced with problems in the material world. And that is just, it is not a matter of if, it's just not a matter of if at all. But it's just a matter of when the next one will come. I just faced a little calamity here. I don't know if any of you noticed. I had to stop playing the cartels in the middle of Jairada Madhava because my computer had a revolution. It had a calamity, a computerized calamity. Suddenly it just went all mad. And I had to turn it off and turn it on again. Anyway, we will do computer prayers and just hope for the best. But yeah, and I'm sure we've all faced calamities. Anyone here never faced a calamity? Just been cruising through. No problems. If you say that, you're a liar. Or else you're sort of too stupid to understand that when you're in a calamity. Anyway. Yeah, but that's just what the material world is like. It's a difficult place. Padam padam yad vipadam natesham. Step by step, at every step, there are difficulties. So, and of course, difficulties, calamities, they hurt. They hurt. One of my godbrothers, I don't know, did you ever hear of a devotee named Tribhuvanath? You heard? You heard. Anyone else? Anyway, he was a really nice devotee. I joined in London, January the 7th, 1973, and he was already there. And he was just such a nice devotee. Really, really wonderful devotee. Unfortunately, he passed away. Got cancer and he passed away, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago, something like that. Great shame. But anyway, he had a very close relationship with Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada would come to London regularly because it is in between India and America and India. And Prabhupada was going back and forth regularly. And he would always stop off in London, particularly when we got Bhaktivedanta Manor just outside London, big place, and he would always stop and spend some days or a week or something. So we would see him quite often. And Tribhuvanath Prabhu had a very close relationship with Prabhupada. Prabhupada really appreciated him. And one day he told me, Tribhuvanath Prabhu told me personally, one day he asked Prabhupada, will Krishna ever give a devotee a test which is just so difficult that even if the devotee just does his or her best, they just won't be able to pass the test? And Prabhupada said, no, Krishna will not do that. He does not do that. Rather, generally what happens, or just what happens, is that Krishna gives us all, you could say, personalized tests. Personalized, like specifically designed and structured for each of us as individuals. Because what may be a test for me may not be a test for you. For you it may just be sort of like nothing. But for me it may be quite a substantial test. So yeah, Krishna is very intelligent, and Krishna knows us better than we know ourselves. And Krishna knows what we need to improve on and what qualities we need to develop and all these types of ideas. I mean, as individuals, he knows. And therefore, from time to time, he gives us some like specially designed test for us. And we'll feel it as a test. It will be difficult. If it's not difficult, then it's not a test. But we'll find it difficult. So, this is going to happen. But when it happens, when it inevitably happens in one way or another, then, first thing, we must understand that this is a test. Krishna has sent me a test, and it's like for specific reasons that he has sent me this test and not some other test. So that's the first thing we should accept. And we shouldn't just think that, what's happening? Some disaster happened, and what is this? We shouldn't think like that, but we should understand Krishna's behind this. Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj, I assume some of you knew, or maybe all of you knew, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. He said, or he would say, that when he sees a test coming, sometimes a test just sort of descends on you just like that. Other times it kind of builds up a little, and you can kind of see it coming, at least briefly. So he would say that when I see a test coming, I think, here comes Krishna in the form of a test. That's very nice, isn't it? Not just like, here comes, pain. Here comes difficulty. Oh my gosh. Not that sort of attitude or perspective on the situation, but he would say it like that. Here comes Krishna in the form of a test. So he would welcome it. He was really quite a person, Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj. He did one seminar. You know what life is like. And in ISKCON also, you know what life is like. And there's ups and downs. He did a seminar once called How to Love Those People Who Hurt You the Worst. Did you ever take part in that seminar? Or did you hear of it? You heard about it? Oh, you have? Okay. Yeah, well, you should play it. Everyone should hear it. How to love those who hurt you the most or hurt you the worst. Yeah, not just how to love those who, who give you lots of Mahaprasadam or something like that. How to love those who glorify you. But how to love those who hurt you the most, and not just how to tolerate those who hurt you the most. Oh my God, it's him again, what can I do? That sort of idea. Yeah, but how to love them. So these ideas, they're very important. Very important. So anyway, this verse is very important in this regard. In fact, it's really such an extremely special verse, because in it, Queen Kunti is revealing, she's revealing her heart and how she sees these tests or difficulties or calamities. A calamity is really like a big problem. It's not just a normal everyday problem. Calamity means a bit of a disaster, really. Yeah. So as we read, she is wishing that all the calamities that she's been through, that they just come again and again, because they force her, force her and her sons, the Pandavas, Arjuna, Yudhisthira, and so on. Those calamities force them to take shelter of Krishna. And when they take shelter of Krishna, of course, then they know they're on their way back to Godhead. Yes, right. So of course, Queen Kunti, I'm sure you know the sort of the histories and the story behind Queen Kunti and her life. She really had a hard time. Really had a hard time. Her sons were banished to the forest, the Pandavas, and she was there with them for how many years? I forget, 12, 14 years, something, 13 years. It's a long time. They're just living in the forest. And many problems arose. Just first of all, living in the forest is not comfortable at all. But that was not all. But they were harassed by different people. You know the story, Vasamuni came that time, famous story. He came with his 60,000 disciples. That's a lot. And just walked in and said, yeah, here we are. And when guests come, you have to receive them in certain ways, at least that's the Vedic tradition. A place to sit, some sweet words, something to drink, something to eat. This is how you greet or deal with a guest when they arrive. So he said, yeah, we are hungry, we would like to eat, but don't worry, we'll give you time to prepare. We'll go down and take a bath in the river, and we'll be back in half an hour. So you'll have half an hour to prepare for 60,000 people. And anyway, some of you, I'm sure, have cooked for large numbers, but I think not as large as 60,000. Anyway, but Krishna, so it was a calamity. He curses, and some super heavy curses. Yeah, super heavy curses, my Lord. And we do this seminar on the demons in Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. You may have heard of it. It's an interesting seminar. There were 21 in Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes. There were 21 such demons. Actually, they weren't all demons, because it includes the Govardhan Leela, includes Brahma stealing the cowherd boys and calves. And they're not demons, but most of them really were demons. Anyway, 21, shall we say, and almost half of them became demons because they were cursed by Devasa Muni. He is what we call a serial curser. Oh, yeah. So, well, it was particularly Draupadi who was dealing with Devasa Muni there. Although the thing is, Kunti here says that we, it's not just her, so that I can see you again and again. But so we can see you, means her and Draupadi, her daughter-in-law, and her 5 sons. Yeah. So Draupadi had a pot. You know the story, I'm sure. She could cook once a day in this pot, and it would produce enough food, enough prasadam, to feed any number, not just 60,000, but 60 million. Right. But she'd already used it that day, and she could only use it once a day. But Krishna came, and Krishna asked Draupadi, please look in the pot, and just have a look, see if there's like a little scrap of vegetable there, and give it to me, let me eat it. So she looked, but she couldn't find anything. It appeared to be like spotless inside. But then Krishna said, no, look again. And she found a little scrap of something like cabbage, just a little sliver of something. And she gave it to Krishna. Krishna ate it. And because Krishna is everything, in one sense we can put it like that. Krishna is everything, and we are part of Krishna. So when Krishna's happy, because we're part of Krishna, then we are happy also. So Krishna was satisfied, like he'd eaten very nicely, just from having that tiny bit of vegetable. And Devasa Muni and his 60,000 disciples who were having their bath in the nearby river, suddenly they felt like they had had a massive Sunday feast, like the Harrisburg Sunday feast. I'm sure it's pretty nice, isn't it? It is, yeah. It's not just biryani and dal, but it's nice, different preparations. So they felt like they had just had the biggest feast of their lifetimes. And they felt too embarrassed to go back because they couldn't eat. They just couldn't manage another mouthful. Like, if somehow or other, if you eat really, really a lot, if you have one of the big Harrisburg Sunday feasts and you just go for it, then you reach a point where you're so full that even if they bring your favorite, most favorite preparation that normally you just die for, but now you'll just say no thanks because you can't manage it any further. So that's what they felt like. And they felt it would be such an embarrassment to go back, having put them to some difficulty, and say, well, actually, it's all right, thanks. We're not hungry any longer. So they just left. They didn't even come and say, sorry. They just walked, they just left. Yeah, anyway, so that was a calamity for them as a group. But Krishna saved them. Yeah, because, Krishna was not there to start off with. He came, after some minutes. He appeared on the scene. So just for a little while, they were praying, Krishna, please do something, Krishna. Please help us. Otherwise, this Devasa Muni is going to curse us. And, our situation is bad enough already. We don't need things to get any worse than they are. Right. So, yes, they'd been through a lot. They'd really been through a lot of pain, really a lot of pain. In Nectar of Devotion, there's one interesting exchange between Kunti and Lord Krishna. It's where there's the list of qualities of Krishna. It starts with, I think it's chapter 20 or 21. So one of the qualities of Krishna is that he's truthful. So what's described there in Nectar of Devotion is that just very shortly before the Battle of Kurukshetra, Queen Kunti approached Lord Krishna and said, "My Lord, this great battle is just about to happen, just in the next few days it would seem. And so many people are going to be killed. But my request of you, my Lord, is please protect my sons, the Pandava brothers. Please protect them so that they survive the battle intact." Yeah. So Krishna said, yes, all right. I will make sure that they're safe and they survive the battle. And, there were different situations where they could have lost their lives. But by Krishna's mercy, they didn't lose their lives. So anyway, in Nectar of Devotion, it's described there that after the battle, Queen Kunti approached Lord Krishna to thank him, express her gratitude. And she said, "My Lord, thank you so much for keeping your word and saving my sons and protecting them so they've survived." Because, it was only like maybe 1% of the people or less survived, actually. So thank you very much for that. You gave your word and you upheld your word. And then she said, very nice thing, she said, "One day the sun may become cold, and one day snow may become hot. But I know your word will never change." Do you get snow here? You do, yeah? I come from a part of the world where people have never seen snow. Midwinter, it's school holidays, and the beaches, because it's on the ocean, the beaches are packed out. Everyone's swimming. Anyway, okay, that's all right. So, right. Yeah, so one day snow may become hot, but your word will never change. So this is the point that Kunti's making, that she is actually asking, will you please send problems? She's not just saying that, well, problems are going to come. That's the way this world is. But, please protect me from them. She's saying, please give me problems. Isn't that amazing? Really, it's amazing. It's sort of like self-sadism, you could say, in a sense, something like that. Right. So anyway, Prabhupada explains it in the purport. I hope we were all listening, because Prabhupada made some really good points that we should understand what is the nature of this place on one hand, and we should understand on the other hand that Krishna always protects his devotees. And as long as we are trying our best to be serious devotees, Krishna will protect us. Yes, Krishna will protect us. Sometimes we may have to hang in there. It may really be quite trying. But Krishna will help us out. And these tests, like at school, we've all been to school, and I'm sure many of us have been to university. There you get tests all the time, don't you? Tests, examinations, like every week or couple of weeks or whatever it is. Yeah. And what is the point of the tests? Is it just to give you a hard time? To ask you questions about subjects you have not studied yet? What's the point of that? No. They test you on what has been covered already in the course. And that's what the test is about. And the test is to help you improve your knowledge in the subject. Although it may be, a bit of a hassle and a struggle, but still that's what it's for. So these tests, that's what they're for. They're actually to help us. And, sometimes it may be difficult when a test comes to see it from that point of view, that actually this is Krishna's mercy to help me maybe overcome something that's wrong with me, or to help me learn something new, or learn something more deeply about Krishna consciousness. When you're in the middle of the test, and particularly if it's, if it really is a bit of a test, it may be difficult to see the test like that. But then we should pray to Krishna. My dear Lord Krishna, I know that this problem, this test, is coming from you. It's not just some sort of miscellaneous problem that just sort of appeared out of nowhere. I know it's coming from you, and I know that you're you're the most intelligent, and you don't do anything just for no reason. You only do things for specific purposes. So you've given me this test to help me. Although it hurts, but it's actually meant to help me. That's what it's about. So, my Lord, please help me to understand what I should be learning here and what I should be doing to deal with whatever the situation is. And if we do like that, then at least by the time we come through the test, we'll feel that, wow, that really helped me. It was really good for me. It wasn't easy, but it really helped me. So those are some thoughts on that subject. And what do you think? What do you think? Do you think we should pray to Krishna? Come on, Krishna, give me more problems. I want more and bigger problems. Well, you could. Some devotees have told me that they have prayed like that. You may not need to, because, these things tend to just come anyway. So I remember when I was a new devotee, I'm still a new devotee, only 51 or 52 years, pretty new devotee. So there was a group of us in London, in the temple in central London. And there was a group there was about 6 of us, the new boys. We'd all joined the temple, moved into the temple in the last few months. So one day we had a discussion like this. What do you think? Do you think we should pray to Krishna to put some pressure on us and, make us struggle a bit so we don't become lazy? Something like that. And we all agreed, yes, right, let's do it. Let's pray to Krishna for some difficulties. So anyway, we were doing that. We would meet we don't meet every day or every couple of days. So a couple of days went past and we met again. And we were asking each other, so what's happening? What's been going on now? And we had a few tests and things. But one boy said, I was praying to Krishna. Come on, Krishna, give me some real problems. And he gave me so many problems that I just couldn't believe it. So I said, okay, Krishna, that's enough, thanks. That'll do. Take a break, Krishna. Yeah, right. So, it's up to you, but you probably don't need to pray to Krishna like Queen Kunti, because none of us are anywhere near on the level of Queen Kunti at all. We're somewhere in Krishna consciousness, but we're not on the level of Queen Kunti. So we can't imitate. So those are some thoughts on that. But let me mention same sort of idea, but a different pastime, you could say, with Lord Chaitanya, with Mukunda Dat. I don't know if you know that pastime of Lord Chaitanya's. That Lord Chaitanya, it was during the Mahaprakash Leela. Mahaprakash Leela means when Lord Chaitanya for 20 hours or 21 hours or something like that, he called the devotees in Mayapur and Navadvip area. He called them all the devotees. So they all gathered, and then he called each one individually and explained how in some cases, in different of his incarnations, some of those devotees had been with him, when he appeared as Lord Ram. Then he called Murari Gupta. He called Murari Gupta and said, Murari Gupta, Murari, look at me. And Murari Gupta looked at Lord Chaitanya, and what did he see? He saw Lord Chaitanya as Sita and Ram. And he saw Lord Nityananda as Lakshman. And he just fainted. He was just so overwhelmed. And the Lord asked him, so what do you see? He said, I see you as Sita and Ram, and I see Lord Nityananda as Lakshman, but there's one problem. Where's Hanuman? And Lord Chaitanya said, Murari, look at yourself, Murari. And he looked at himself, and he saw that he is Hanuman, because he is Hanuman. Anyway, during the course, Anyway, he called all these devotees and explained how in some cases they had been with him in some of his other incarnations. In other cases, just shortly before he appeared as Lord Chaitanya, he had come down and intervened in this lifetime that the devotees were in at that time, and helped them out in different ways. And things like this, like, what's his name, Gangadas Pandit. Gangadas Pandit, he said to him, you remember that one night the Muslim soldiers attacked your village and you had to just run, grab your family and just drag them and just run. But the soldiers were following you. And you ran and ran, but they were still following you. And then you came to the bank of the Ganges. It's like midnight. And so there are no boats running. And here we're stuck. What are we going to do? And these soldiers are approaching. So then he prayed, Krishna, please send a boat with a boatman. And suddenly, a boat with a boatman at midnight appeared on the river. And Gangadas Pandit said, please take me and my family to the other side. I will give everything to you. I'll give you my life. I'll be your servant for the rest of my life. But please take us to the other side. So the boatman took them to the other side. So Lord Chaitanya is explaining this to him during this whole pastime. And Lord Chaitanya said, I was that boatman. I had descended specifically from Vaikuntha just to save you in that situation. And I took you across, and I just went back to Vaikuntha. Because it was some years before he actually advented himself. And, there are all sorts of exchanges like that, and really nice. And then Lord Chaitanya, after like 20 hours or so, he said, okay, that's enough. I mean, I've called everyone that I want to. Program is finished. So this was going on in the courtyard of the house of Srivas Thakur. And Srivas approached Lord Chaitanya and said, you know what? I think you may have forgotten one devotee. I think you forgot Mukunda Dat. He's such a nice devotee. He was such an expert singer. When he would sing, sometimes rocks would melt. Yeah. Prabhuji was singing so nicely, wasn't he? Earlier. It was really nice. I don't know who's the best singer in ISKCON Harrisburg. Maybe it's Prabhu. I don't know, but anyway. Did rocks ever melt when you were singing? Not yet. Anyway, keep working on it. But with Mukunda Dat, sometimes rocks would melt. There's just such incredible singing, glorifying the Lord. So this is what Srivas Thakur said. But then to his surprise, Lord Chaitanya said, no, I'm not going to call him. Actually, not only am I not going to call him, I don't want to see him again ever. 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 And Srivas was shocked because this devotee is very prominent and popular and just really amazing devotee. So Srivas asked, my Lord, what is it? What has he done? How has he offended you so badly? And the thing was that Mukunda was living in one of these big extended families, with uncles and aunts and brothers and sisters and all the grandparents and, other cousins and relatives. It was like a kind of a village in itself almost. And those family members, some of them were not devotees. Some of them were Shivites. Some of them worshipped Durga. Some of them were impersonalists. And there were just all these different types of people with all these different ideas. And Mukunda was in the practice of, he didn't want to be constantly fighting with these, having arguments with these different people. So whenever they would say something like Om Namo Shivaya, for example, he'd just say, yes, Om Namo Shivaya, very good, very good. He wouldn't really get into it, but he just sort of, to pacify them, he would say something. It's all one, yes, right, it's all one, right, very good, thank you. And off he'd go. So, in this way, he kept the peace. Otherwise, it would have just been like a war, World War III or something. Phew. So, but Lord Chaitanya didn't like it, didn't appreciate it. And so he said, you are a hypocrite. When you're with us, it's all Hare Krishna, Hare Bol, and etc., etc., and leading kirtan. It's just, it's really nice. But then when you go home, then it's, Om Namo Shivaya, Durgastu Bhagavan Swayam, or, it's all one, or all these different types of ideas. So Lord Chaitanya told him, you're a hypocrite. Lord Chaitanya said, you are the type of person who will approach me holding a nice flower, fragrant flower in one hand. Here, please take this. Nice flower. But your other hand behind your back is carrying a stick. So as soon as I take the flower, whack, you hit me. More or less along those lines, Lord Chaitanya said. And so Srivas was trying to explain that, it's not really like that. It's just sort of, he's being diplomatic, trying to keep the peace in the family. And he doesn't mean it. Actually, he's a devotee at heart. He's really a wonderful devotee. In the meantime, Mukunda Dutt had heard that Lord Chaitanya said, I will never see him again, ever, ever. And he was just heartbroken and just totally overwhelmed. So crying and crying and crying. But when Srivas explained like that, then Lord Chaitanya said, okay, you can tell him, I will see him after 500 lifetimes. Now you might think, 500 lifetimes? That's really a long time. It's not fair. But when Mukunda Dutt heard the Lord will see you in 500 lifetimes, he became ecstatic. He'll see me in just 500 lifetimes. How wonderful, how merciful our Lord is. And he started jumping up and down and shouting out, I will see, I will see, I will see. And jumping and dancing and rolling and flying. And he just, he became extremely overwhelmed. And Lord Chaitanya heard this going on. And he asked Srivas, what is this? Who is that? And Srivas said, well, it's Mukunda Dutt. He heard that you'll see him after 500 lifetimes. And he's just really happy, just completely happy. And Lord Chaitanya said, oh, just bring him now. So they went out to try and catch him, but they couldn't catch him because he was just running and rolling and jumping and flying too wildly, but eventually they caught him and brought him in. And you know what Lord Chaitanya said? He said, yeah, I was just testing you. But actually, you're my eternal associate, and we'll always be together. Wherever I appear, you will appear. And sing for me. So I was just testing you. But actually, I regard you as my little boy, like my little son. So, Mukunda Dutt was so advanced that Lord Chaitanya could test him like that. If Lord Chaitanya tested you or me like this, I don't think we'd manage it. I'm sure we wouldn't manage it. But the test was designed for the person. Yeah. And actually there's a benediction at the end of that description. It's in Chaitanya Bhagavat, that anyone who hears this pastime nicely will appear with Lord Chaitanya and Mukunda Dutt, and will sing with Lord Chaitanya and Mukunda Dutt. So if you were listening nicely and not thinking, when's this guy going to finish and what's for prasadam and all that sort of thing. But if you're really listening nicely, well, that's the benediction. These benedictions are real. So anyway, we could say so many things about this because it's a really important subject and it's very practical and relevant to us. Yeah. Who's in charge around here? Is it you? Aha. This is the president. Okay. आपका नाम क्या है? आप हिंदी बोल सकते हैं?
Yeah, I have to admit that my Hindi is very bad because I'm actually born and raised in Singapore. So.
Oh, there he is, another Singaporean. He's from Singapore too. He's a Singapore Sindhi. Are you a Singapore Tamil?
Telugu.
Telugu,
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, look, it's okay. Relax. But yeah, what should we do? When should we finish?
Maharaj, we can sit here all night long and hear you, so it's your call, Maharaj.
What time's Mangalarti?
6.
Oh, 6?
Yes. We got a little laxed.
I see. Right. Anyway, what's our program, by the way? Driver is here? Okay. Anyway, devotees, let me just tell you one more little thing. Actually, it's a test. The subject is a test. And it's Lord Chaitanya again. And it's really one of these stories I like a lot, if I can find it. That's usually, I've got so many things on my computer that it's hard to find everything. Anyway, what happened was, I can't believe it, can't find it. What happened was, Lord Chaitanya was meeting with a group of householder, Brahmin devotees. And they were all inviting him to come and take prasadam in their houses. And Lord Chaitanya said that, well, he said, I don't know really, because I only take prasadam in the houses of Laksheshwaras, which is a form of the term Lak Ishwara, someone who has a lack of rupees. Yeah. And I don't take prasadam in anyone else's house unless they're Laksheshwaras. This is apparently the traditional Bengali term. So all those devotees, they're all poor Brahmins, Brahmin devotees, and they're very poor. So they were all very disappointed, and they said, "Our dear Lord, we didn't know that you only eat in the houses of rich people." Because in those days, to have a lack of rupees was like being a multi-millionaire in America. Yeah, we didn't know that. We don't have a lack between all of us. If you put what all of us have together, we don't have a lack even between us. Oh, here it is. Yeah. We don't have a lack between us, so yeah, anyway, I guess we miss out. And Lord Chaitanya said, actually, well, let me just read a couple of things he says, just the translations. If someone has devotion, then everything is well. But without devotion, even the position of a king is inauspicious. If one has wealth, fame, and material enjoyment, but is bereft of devotion, then everything is inauspicious. Only devotional service is the reservoir of auspiciousness. And if one is so poor that he has no food for the day, but he has devotion to Lord Vishnu, then he's the richest person. So Lord Chaitanya explained that when I say I take meals only in the house of Laksheshwaras, I mean, he says, do you know who is a Laksheshwara? He is someone who daily chants 100,000 holy names. Means basically approximately 64 rounds. Yeah. That, yes. I will only accept food in such a person's place. I call that person a Laksheshwara. Yeah, and I take meals only in such a person's house, not in the houses of any others. So then the Brahmin householder devotees became so happy. Oh Lord, we will chant 100,000 names. Please therefore take your meals in our houses. So what does that mean? Does that mean we all got to chant 64 rounds? I mean, there are a few devotees who do, but not many. And I know a few who do. Well, I know one in particular who does. And he's just chanting all day. Whatever he's doing, he's chanting. When he's sitting in the class, he's sitting there and he's chanting. And when you speak to him, he's chanting while you speak to him. Yeah, not a good idea. So Prabhupada says, don't panic that we now have to chant 64 rounds a day. Yes. Let me just see what Prabhupada says. Yeah. From the Nectar of Instruction, listen to this. The Krishna, this is in the purport of Mantra 5 in Nectar of Instruction. The Krishna consciousness movement prescribes 16 rounds daily because people in the Western countries cannot concentrate for long periods while chanting on beats. Therefore, the minimum number of rounds is prescribed. However, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that unless one chants at least 64 rounds of japa, 100,000 names, he is considered fallen. According to his calculation, practically every one of us is fallen. But because we're trying to serve the Supreme Lord with all seriousness and without duplicity, we can expect the mercy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is famous as Patita Pavan, the deliverer of the fallen. So in other words, if Lord Chaitanya was here, which he is, of course, in the deity form, as long as you're chanting 16 rounds, he will accept what you cook. Okay. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, devotees, what to do? Any comments, questions, additions, subtractions?
Marge, I would like to actually answer your question that you asked me. I just forgot to answer your question when you asked me my name. Tube light. My name is Anasuya Devidasi Marge.
Anukulya.
Anasuya.
Anna?
Suya.
Suya.
Yes.
Oh, I see. Okay. That's a nice name. Got to live up to it.
Yes,
Anyway,
Marge.
you're a good devotee. You're the president. Gee
Yes.
whiz. Good on you.
Marge, I wanted to actually share something when you're speaking about the test of lives and praying, Queen Kunti's prayers, and that it's not a good idea to ask Krishna for problems because we're already getting problems. I was reminded by an incident that happened, I think, back in 2005 in Gitanagari when His Holiness Bhakti Swami, by his mercy, I'm a practicing Krishna-based disciple. My husband and I are his disciples. And he made a prayer and encouraged his devotees to say it, and some of us are very afraid to say the prayer. And the prayer that he said that we should try to ask is to ask the Lord to give us what we need to progress in Krishna consciousness and to take away what's going to hinder. And some devotees said the prayers, Marge, and within 1 week I know that 2 devotees got in a car accident.
Oh.
Yes.
Really?
Really bad. Both the cars were totaled.
Oh my Lord.
But they came out alive, and they said to me, I'll never say that prayer again.
Ooh, Krishna.
Because it was, I think, kind of immature to say the prayer. But I feel, and it has always been on my mind for, since 19 years, ever since we heard the prayer from Bhakti Swami, that I always had this guilt. Mm-hmm. My goodness, I'm not saying this prayer, but I feel very happy, Marge, what you just said, that we shouldn't, it's not smart to say that prayer. So thank you for relieving me of that guilt, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah. I can tell you a story, an experience I had. I was going to fly, I had to fly from one place to a second place and then change aeroplanes to fly to a third place where I had to go and meet some government officials to renew my European Union residents. I had an appointment. So, to cut a longish story short, the first flight to the second place was delayed. And there am I thinking, I'm not going to get the second flight. So I won't get to the third place and I'll miss my appointment. Krishna, please, come on, do something, Krishna. So, anyway, the plane came, or took off eventually from the first place. And we're flying along, and suddenly they make an announcement. There is a security incident in the airport in the second place. And we cannot land there. We will have to go and land somewhere else. And I thought, oh my God, and there's no chance of making it. And then about a couple of minutes later, they said, we're going to have to go and land in Moscow, which was way out of the way, like really out of the way. And I thought, oh, we're finished. Krishna, you know what to do anyway. Then after a little, some 15, 20 minutes, and these are short flights, they're like an hour each, they said, well, actually, yes, we cannot land at that the second place because there's a bomb threat. They're trying to find the bomb, so we can't land there. So we are actually, what we're going to do, we're going to go on and land in the third place, where, yeah. And I made it to the appointment. And I was sitting there apologizing to Krishna. I should have just remained cool and relaxed and not become frantic. Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, everyone. Hare Krishna. Oh, yes.
While Queen Kunti is such advanced devotee and she's praying, which no one can pray, please give me calamity so that I can remember your lotus feet. She is asking Krishna to protect her children. How can we relate this to, at the same time she's still asking Krishna for something.
Yeah.
She's giving up everything.
In all those calamities, she did pray to Krishna, please protect us. And so, if those calamities happened again and again, she would pray to Krishna, please protect us. Yeah, so it's not a contradiction, actually. That was just one of the major calamitous situation. The battle's just coming up, so she prays, please protect us. Yeah. Okay, devotees, Hare Krishna. Thanks for having us. Yeah, I don't make the arrangements. In fact, usually I don't even know what they are. But we have to go off to somewhere else, don't we, to stay the night.
You're going to a place already?
Yes. Another place I've never heard of or never been to. But anyway, thanks for having us and all the best. May Krishna bless you. And maybe we'll see you again sometime. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna.